Would you like to learn about the post office of the USPS? Stay tuned for the episode to learn more. This is Kaylan, better known as Professor Cygnus and Angels. And my angels and I are as one human being. I know what is beyond this sight you are seeing. We're doing very good, my miracles, my wonderful angels. And remember to have healthy eating, appropriate speech, appropriate behavior, appropriate clothing, appropriate spacing, and knowing the science and anatomy of all things. Also remember to have the goals of the body, the household, and the outside responsibilities. Have you ever wondered about how our mail gets delivered? The importance of mail goes back hundreds of years. But yet, when something was legally established was in 1971 in July. And that is when the USPS Postal Service was born. Wow, that is incredible. That seems like that is before when cars were created. So you possibly wonder, how did they get around if they did not have any cars? How did they deliver mail from long distances without any cars? Let's take a look back in the past to see how they did it. Nowadays, you will see vehicle transports, and people are able to have transportation like they never have before in history. Today's time has the most incredible transportation compared to what they had back then. We ought to be very thankful for transportation. Definitely saving blisters on the feet. Although not everyone has access to transportation, we should be very thankful for the ones that do. I personally only have a bicycle, yet I am thankful for the ones who have transportation. When it comes to the United States Postal Service, they organize thousands of different types of mails and letters and even packages. Everything is organized in a system, and there's different routing systems for mail. And in fact, when you have a mailing number, that is organized in a route in their system. Everyone has a route group in different parts of their area. Let's take a look back in the past, before they had vehicles like this. Wow, that is so different from what they have today. Let's see what those wheels are made out of. Looks like that could have been wood carving. Do you think so? Looks like it. Looks like they made that out of wood also. What is this that they have? Looks like they have a harness on a horse. That horse definitely needs a shower for a reward. Well, thank goodness the horses are saved nowadays. Looks like that horse definitely would be worn out having to go everywhere. I think they definitely could have overutilized the horses back then. We are glad now that the horses are more taken care of. Very good. They depended upon things like horses back then. They came up with the steam engine car a little bit after that, but yet not everyone had access to the steam engine car, which is why a lot of people stuck by the ways of the wagon and the horse. This was the way of transportation back then. This was the way that they had to deliver mailing services back in 1971. Wow! Looks like the USPS Postal Service is greatly appreciated. Looks like they have put effort in for many years. And in the image, as you can see, looks like that is the countryside. So there was not a lot of things established back then either. So it must have been miles and miles that they had to travel with a horse and a wagon. We pray that the horses would not get exhausted and that they made sure to have food and water for the horse. Yes, indeed. Can you imagine if that was in today's time? Wow! There would be no cars on the road, and people would definitely have a difficult time with traveling, especially if a lot of people did not have horses. And there definitely would be less humans in the planet. They had to travel a very far along way just to get to a mailbox at someone's house. Yet we are very thankful for the mailing services, even from a long time ago. Because whenever they started is how they have things now, just in a more enhanced way. So thus far, a lot of inventions and a lot of establishments from the 1970s and even before that had built the same concept of what they had with a few more enhancements. Here's another way of saying this. They do the same thing that they did back then, just in a more enhanced way. Think if they did not have the systems that they do in today's time with computerized metadata. They had to have notebooks in all kinds of folders. And they had to write everything down. Wow! Talking about a lot to write. That sounds like that would take a lot more effort than what today's time requires. Be thankful for the wonderful enhancements that they have made, especially when it comes from transportation and also metadata. Technology in today's time has enhanced incredibly, and the metaverse and robotics have grown like a seed in the garden and had sprouted wonderfully. Look at their post office from 1971. Yikes! A big tent. That definitely would be scary if there was any wind blowing. Tents can easily be knocked down from the wind. And plus, that is very difficult to have to deal with the walls making noise and everything. Of those difficulties. Looks like those people are dressed very formally. Yes. That looks very difficult. Think of how they did not have documentation systems organized in just one computer. Yet instead, they had notebooks and piles of papers. That would have definitely taken up a lot of space. And their post office being a tent like that, how difficult would that be? Very difficult. Even though they had difficulties starting a post office, we are very thankful that they started that, even if it was difficult. Because what they started is what they are continuing to do in today's time. If it was not for them going through with those difficulties, then they would not be where they are today. If there is any little ones watching and you want to be a part of the mail services, you can. Yet you have to focus on the path of your life of what you want to do. There's so many different career fields. Being a postmaster is one of the greatest careers for this entire planet. In a way, we all depend upon mailing systems. Yet know the incredible importance Would you like to write a letter with me? You possibly wonder, why does the mailing service always have to require a stamp on every letter? The reason why is because a part of their system has the stamps in a money organization as well. Each stamp, and some stamps are different, some stamps represent 50 cents, and some stamps represent only 25 cents. That is why sometimes if your mailing is a little thick, they require 2 or 3 stamps. These stamps also have UV lighting. Wow. And they usually scan the stamp to make sure that the stamp is legitimate through the UV lightings. Very good. So make sure if your mailing letter is a little thick to put more than 1 stamp on there. When you want to write a letter, the first thing that you have to do is get the pen and paper ready to. On the envelope, you will write your name. Right up, left down, right, left. N-A-M-E. Sound out every letter to make every word. After that, you will put your address first. Then you will put your zip code. Left and right, up, down, left. Right, up, left, and right, left. Very good. On the envelope, on the upper left corner, you will write your name, address, and zip code. That is the way writing letters goes. You will put a stamp on the upper right-hand corner. This is just an example stamp. And remember, they have UV lighting scans for the stamp. Sending to. You will say name, address, zip code on the upper left-hand corner. We'll say that like this. On the upper left-hand corner, you will put your name, address, and zip code. And this is the way that writing a letter goes. You will put the postal stamp on the upper right-hand corner. Then you will put the person's name that you are sending the letter to. And on the bottom left, you will tell the mailing, thank you. Very good. Then you will put the address, left and right, down, left, left, of who you are sending this to. Then the zip code at the bottom. And if there's a problem, we can solve them. When you write a letter, always make sure that you have all of these requirements met, and remember to always show your best. Put your name and address at the upper left-hand corner with the zip code. And this is how writing a letter goes. In the middle, put the name of the person you are sending this to. On the bottom left, tell the mail service thank you. Put the address to who you are sending that to. Put the state, the zip code. And this is how writing a letter goes. Each stamp represents 50 cents or 25 cents. And remember, they have UV rays that scan this to make sure the stamp is legitimate. If the letter is thicker, you may have to put multiple stamps at the top on the upper right-hand corner. With multiple stamps, but yet only one if the letter is thin. If you would like to write a letter, make sure your writing is better. Have a stamp on the corner of the right side of the letter. Have your name in the upper left-hand corner, address and zip code. And this is how writing a letter goes. Have the receiver's name in the middle with the address, city, state, and zip code. And this is how writing a letter goes. Do not forget, in the corner, tell the mail services thank you for all the incredible things that they do. When you receive a letter, make sure to show a smile. The post office put a lot of effort in their system files of all of the letters that they send. Make sure to say thank you, because more than likely you are going to see them again. Make sure that you have all the requirements met. And remember to sit up straight and show your very best. If you would write a letter, who would you write a letter to? You can say in the comments below. Hey, in a way, the metaverse has their own mailing system. In fact, every comment that you put is practically a letter that is sent, just in a different kind of way. Thank you for the efforts of the mailing service. From July of 1971. Diligence can be so much fun. And remember to always show appreciation towards the mailing services. Thank you all for making this possible.